if TikTok wasn't concerned about a potential ban before yesterday's hearing, it should be concerned after that hearing yesterday. It did not go well for the company. What's at issue here is in April, Congress passed a law that said unless TikTok is divested to a company that doesn't have its parent in China, that companies in the U.S. can no longer carry the app in app stores. Companies can no longer host it in a way that the app can be distributed, updated, or maintained in the United States, as of January 19th. And TikTok has said, look, we can't do a divestiture. It's certainly not on that timeline. And so TikTok's only chance to survive in the United States after January 19th is to win this legal case. And yesterday's hearing was the big hearing on the case. And the three judges on the case, in my view, were not very sympathetic to the company's First Amendment case.
And so is this isolated to the United States? Are there any other, countries that are also trying to crack down on TikTok and its influence?
I think different countries are taking different approaches. The EU has taken a harder approach to tech regulation generally, and likely would apply that to TikTok without a specific ban in the same way, according to our analyst Tamlin Basin there. So this law is U.S. specific. It was passed by Congress specifically to target the company. And so it's a different remedy here in the U.S. But there's a tendency, I think, to think, nothing's going to happen in Congress. Nothing ever gets done there, just a lot of talk. Well, here, Congress did it. It's done. It's law. And TikTok's only chance to overcome it is to win this legal case.
So the parent company for TikTok is ByteDance, a Chinese-controlled company. If I misstated that, let me know. What has ByteDance said about their options, what they plan to do, scenarios?
Yeah, so that's right. That ByteDance is the parent company of TikTok. Now, TikTok is a U.S. subsidiary. It's a U.S. company. TikTok is a privately owned company, but it happens to have its headquarters in China, and that's the concern. And TikTok and ByteDance in this legal case have basically said, look, a divestiture is just not technically or legally feasible. And so there's really no indication that they're pursuing a divestiture at this point. And at least that's their indication to the court. In fact, the law allows a 90-day extension if the president sees they're making progress on a sale. But the companies, they've made no indication they're pursuing that route. They say this is a blatant violation of the Constitution, and so they think they can win in court. But I'm not so sure after yesterday's hearing.
I mean, so what do analysts think are would be the broader readout for the corporate side of things? I mean, of course, we know so many companies actually promote their products and their companies on TikTok. I mean, when I'm scrolling through, I'm always seeing a new pitch. So what does that look like in terms of advertisement and the ripple effects there?
Yeah, that's right. And part of the litigation yesterday was brought by users of TikTok that say, look, there isn't a good substitute. Yeah, there are other social media companies, but we've built our businesses here. We are expressing ourselves as a First Amendment matter on TikTok, and the government can't take that away. And there's also a big business impact in terms of TikTok's competitors. TikTok is one of the leading social media apps in the country. So if it goes away, it's a great opportunity for the competitors, for Google, for Meta. And so there are serious business implications by forcing a divestiture that isn't going to happen and effectively forcing a ban.
Is this something that could get to the Supreme Court?
Yes. So if TikTok loses in the D.C. Circuit, I expect we'll see a decision by early December from the D.C. Circuit. As I said, the key deadline is January 19th here. So there's not a lot of time. If we see a decision in December from the D.C. Circuit, TikTok's realistic only chance at that point is going to be a last-ditch plea to the Supreme Court to hit pause on this, to say, look, nothing should move this fast when you have such a major restriction under the First Amendment. The Supreme Court should issue a stay and take up this case. That's going to be TikTok's last chance to dodge a ban by January 19th if this ruling goes against it. And I'm not sure the Supreme Court will necessarily take it. Yes, it's a major question that they might be interested in. But if TikTok gets a major loss at the D.C. Circuit, the Supreme Court could say, look, they got it right. We don't need to step in here. So it's not even a sure thing that the Supreme Court will take it. We'll have to watch that in after the D.C. Circuit rules.